everybody, and welcome to the second round of the AMA Supercross Series. I'm Art Ekman along with Dave Despain from the historic Astrodome in Houston, Texas. There have been many great teams and outstanding athletes play under this roof, but there's one champion who hasn't won here.
And that would be Jeremy McGrath, wouldn't it? Who's had his chances through his reign as 125 and now 250 Supercross champ. I happen to believe in motorsports jinxes. We'll find out in a moment whether Jeremy thinks he's jinxed here in the Dome. I'll say this, after watching the opener at Orlando, this young man who so dominated the series a year ago has lost none of his form during the offseason. He's certainly capable of winning tonight.
Also in Orlando, we saw an incredible fast comeback from a young guy on a Kawasaki named Mike LaRocco. If anyone can put the monkey wrench in McGrath's plans, it might be him.
Bad start, great finish, kind of the story of LaRocco's life. He passed 3/4 of Team Honda in 3 laps in Orlando. It was a phenomenal charge. Then started reeling in McGrath at the rate of 2 seconds a lap, and Jeremy had lost none of his pace. Couple more laps, and LaRocco would have won that thing. It was just brilliant. And again, here's a guy who clearly can win the race tonight if he can get out of the gate.
Motor World 2 host Jerry Bernardo chased down the confident young man with the number 1 on his plate and asked him about that so-called Houston jinx.
Okay, let's go right to the source, the big guy right here, Jeremy McGrath. Jeremy, at Houston, there's an alleged jinx going off. You've never won here, even like on 125s. Tell me how you feel about tonight's race.
I think tonight I'm going to change that. You know, every time I've been here, I've been riding a 125 West Coast warm-up race, and, you know, I got to admit, I've been a little bit nervous, so I think tonight will be a little bit different.
Okay, you've looked at the track. Does it look good? You think you can go out there and smoke the guys, or what?
Well, the track's a lot like the one I practice on, and hopefully, you know, the guys have been working hard putting a good track together, so I think the racing will be great.
Okay, that sounds like this kid's got some serious confidence going down. Let's go back up to Art and Dave in the booth.
Well, Dave, will Jeremy dominate again, or who's going to step up to the challenge? We'll find out with the heat races coming up soon.
The countdown is on for the 94 Coors Light Challenge AMA Supercross Series. See it live March 26th, Charlotte's Memorial Stadium. April 9th and 10th, Pontiac Silverdome. April 16th, Minneapolis Metrodome. April 23rd, Texas Stadium. May 7th, Seattle Kingdome. June 4th, San Jose Spartan Stadium. And the finals June 11th, Las Vegas Silver Bowl. Don't wait. Get your AMA Supercross tickets now.
If you really want to travel for less, bum a ride to Suzuki's truly moving, dealing days. Where you can get a great new Suzuki motorcycle for 0 down or low down with low monthly payments. So get to your Suzuki dealer any way you can.
So that our trademark designer faucets last just as long as you want them to, we at Sterling put them through a battery of tests before they ever go out the door. This machine, for instance, will do 10 years of spout swings in a mere 48 hours. However, since we have only 30 seconds, we can just show you 2 days' worth. To see the full 10 years of spout swings, you'll just have to take one home. This is Sam Davis, Vice Chairman for Sterling. Thank you.
People ask me to endorse the strangest things. A green recliner? Not much of a sitter. I like going fast. 68 Shelby. It was only about 300 and some odd made. This car rips. Pure oil now. Keeping them up's half the fun. They all get Pure Later filters. Pure oil later. I snag them from the track. Legends live. A Pure Later. Pure Later.
Welcome back to the Houston Astrodome. Another great crowd on hand in Houston for round 2 of the 1994 Supercross season. The track builders making sure there was enough passing room this time around, Dave.
They've taken a little different approach as you look at the track map. They've tried to make the straightaway sections longer to enable the riders to set up more passing opportunities. Also, the whoop-de-doos are very difficult. And again, that's to let the fast guys go fast.
Getting ready for heat number 1 of the qualifying round. And let's take a look at the qualifying format for the Supercross season as they're getting set Heat 1 and 2. 4 riders from each heat transfer directly to the main event. Then we have the semis for those that didn't make it to the main. Last chance, top 2 riders transferring to the main event. Then 20 riders will be blasting off the gate, headed for that first turn and hopefully victory here in the second round of the Supercross this season. Well, we're getting set now for the highlights of our qualifying action. This is heat number 1, which has several outstanding riders trying to go directly to the main.
Everybody wants the direct transfer out of the heat race. It improves your starting position for the semi. Watch what happens in the rush to turn 1.
That's Craig going to the outside on the first turn, forcing his teammate Emig off the track. Kyle Lewis went down. Also, Matasevich was mixed up in that fray.
Kevin Krein also involved. We'll take another look. That's Emig up on the outside. Craig uses all of the racetrack. Emig has nowhere to go and plows through the hay bales. I would say Emig was in the wrong spot at the right time.
Number 5, Jeff Stanton, got through the melee along with Mike LaRocco, number 7, as they take the lead. That's Craig in 3rd place in our highlights.
Craig got the great start, then surrendered it to Stanton, who looks inspired. Here's the race for 4th and 5th, and number 23, Jeremy Buell, goes down. Cliff Palmer right behind him, runs into him and tips over as well. They battle back for transfer positions.
Meanwhile, out in front is Jeff Stanton having a big fight with Mike LaRocco. LaRocco with great quickness, as he showed us in the first race, coming back in Orlando to challenge Jeremy McGrath for the lead.
And that was just the start of the problems for Jeff Stanton. Trying to get back around LaRocco, he crashed, and I mean crashed hard. Saw stars, rang his bell, got back on the motorcycle and managed a 3rd, but he's a wobbly boy, as you can see.
He went head first. It ripped the visor right off his helmet. He came out of it with a hurt shoulder, but put back an inspiring performance for the rest of the evening.
LaRocco wins it easily. Note the time, 8 minutes and 5 seconds, and that'll be significant in a moment. Nice style from LaRocco.
Craig second. There you see Stanton going over the goalpost jump, along with Palmer getting the final transfer spot, going directly to the main.
I'm impressed with the way Palmer came back. I think the big question is the kind of shape Jeff Stanton is in after that big tumble he took in the heat race.
As we take a look at highlights from heat number 2 now, we've got to look to the big guy, number 1, Jeremy McGrath. He'll be fighting for the fastest qualifying time just to put more money in the bank.
Jeremy talked at the top of the show about confidence. The man seems to be totally immune to the pressures of Supercross. The pressures that got to Damon Bradshaw, led him to retire. The pressures that a lot of people think have affected Jeff Stanton. Jeremy just doesn't seem to feel it. And as we go to the highlights of heat number 2, you'll see another example of that. Blitz to the front and lead.
Some people have to put on a serious game face. Jeremy McGrath would like to just do it for fun. And there he is out in front of heat number 2. It's Lamson Keyhole, number 15, along with Henry in the initial going. But Swink is moving up into the field as well.
Look at Jeremy open up the early lead. He's gone. He's in command. It's a race for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and notably for the transfer spots. It gets real interesting. Kedrowski, number 3, and number 11, Larry Ward, last week's surprise hole shot artist, here battling for 4th spot. This is the last transfer.
Ward leading the first 4 laps of the opening race in Orlando. Then he crashed on lap 7. Denny Stevenson up front, right in front of Ward.
Yeah, he deserves that call. Number 27 running top 3 here tonight. A kid that a lot of people feel has had more potential than he's shown, partly because of injury. Ward on that no-lead Sizzler Yamaha, right into your entry. Contention ahead of the back of Kawasaki.
This was the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Henry getting into the mix with Kedrowski and Ward.
Doug Henry had a bad start, but boy, is he on the move. He wants to make it a Team Honda sweep. He moves around Kedrowski, who's out of the transfer, and the man going fastest toward the front right now is definitely number 8, Henry.
Henry still not back to 100% after the preseason injury, falling on that shoulder, but he's coming back with consistency.
Here's Ward going after Stevenson while Henry goes after Ward. See Ward put the little blocking move on Henry. He knows who's coming. Turns right around, sets that up, and turns it into a pass on Stevenson. Good move by number 11.
Ward, Stevenson, but Henry takes the inside on our highlights of the second heat in qualifying.
Stevenson heading backward. Ward and Henry headed forward, and Kedrowski remaining the enigma of 1994. What is wrong with Motocross Mike?
Ward has shown quick, but in these highlights, he starts to fall back as Henry and Kedrowski will move in front.
This remaining the battle for the last transfer spot. Two of these guys are going to the main event. One of them will ride the semifinal, and with that pass, Kedrowski took the 4th position. He didn't want to follow that privateer home again tonight. Team managers tend to expect you to be able to beat the guys who aren't getting a factory salary.
While we've seen a tremendous battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, out in front, earning his nickname is Showtime as he does the can-can for both sides of the Astrodome fans. I guess he's not worried about fastest qualifying time, even though he's going to get it here in our highlights.
He's going to get it by a ton. He's showing off. He's styling for the folks, but he's cutting laps more than a second faster than the guys did in the first heat race. It's another Jeremy McGrath blitz here in the heat race. When you're on, you're on. And as he comes to take the checker, this guy is definitely on top of his game.
And should he win the main, he would get the extra $1,000 for the Silver Bullet Award for the fastest qualifier and winning the race. There you see Lamson coming across. Very, very consistent this year for 2nd place. Henry and Kedrowski going right to the main. Let's go to Motor World 2's host, Jerry Bernardo, with number 1.
All right, Jeremy, I turned my head and you let the can-can fly. You feeling confident on this track?
Yeah, you know, the track's great out there. I'm having a lot of fun, and, you know, all along it's been real important to me to have fun, and that's what I'm doing.
Once again, the big hole shot, you got it down. What can I say? Number 1, you roosted.
Well,
how do you
I don't know what trick there is, but somehow it's working.
Nice style points, kid. Good luck.
Thanks.
And the fastest qualifier by almost 13 seconds. Highlights of the semifinal round number 1 coming up. Welcome back to the Astrodome for the highlights of our semifinal round number 1. Jeff Matasevich on the right, Jeff Emig on the left. Emig, a factory rider. Matasevich used to be trying to come back as a privateer, working out of a U-Haul and trying to make it to the main right now.
I'll tell you what, from the penthouse to the U-Haul, as you said, that is not the way you like to be doing it. And Matasevich knows the pressure is on. If he can't do it this year, earn his way back onto a factory team, it might be curtains for his career.
Emig, after a crash in the qualifying round with his teammate Mike Craig, incidentally, they have to put that behind him, breaks out in front here in our highlights.
Emig gets the whole shot. We should mention that Craig hurt his knee in that first turn incident. He didn't fall. He finished the race 3rd, but he did injure his knee, so Yamaha's chances are hurt here tonight. Craig's got a bad knee. Emig's in the semifinal, and Larry Ward, the privateer Yamaha riders, also in the semi.
Right behind Emig in 2nd place is number 21, Jeff Matasevich.
He's chased by Kyle Lewis, number 53, and we'll also see Jeremy Buell and number 60, Kevin Krein, chasing the transfer spots.
Jeff Emig really fired up after that altercation in the first turn with Michael Craig. He said he had to put it behind him. We're teammates. If they weren't teammates, there'd be some retaliation going on.
Fired up as in outrage. They had to bleep all the interviews with Emig after that crash. He didn't have very much good to say about Craig.
The battle for 3rd and 4th. Lewis out in front of Buell. Buell number 23.
Looked like the Ohioan Buell had something going there as he set it up on the inside, but he couldn't make the pass stick.
Emig with an easy time of it as he goes toward the checkered flag. He will go to the main with a little bit more confidence. It's a big factor as far as Emig is concerned, building that confidence. Here's Jeff Matasevich coming across. Matasevich, after an 11th place finish in Orlando, is looking for better things here today. Emig, Matasevich, Lewis, Buell, and Krein going to the main event out of the semifinal action. As we continue our highlight action, this is semifinal number 2. And number 27 is Denny Stevenson with a battle with Larry Ward, number 11, trying to make it into the main. Out in front, however, Larry Brooks, number 31 from El Cajon, California, made 10 mains in '93. Larry Ward right in front of Denny Stevenson in our shot here.
And as soon as Ward gets loose from Stevenson, he goes up to make this a teammate battle. These are the two no-lean Sizzler Yamahas. Number 11 is Ward, number 31 is Brooks. They're looking over at each other to say, hey, which of us teammates is going to win this thing? Pretty good battle.
Brooks on the left, Larry Ward on the right.
Based on what I saw at Orlando, I'd certainly give the nod to Ward. He was a bullet down there until he got tired, and there he completed the pass and eventually pulled away from Brooks, who made a big mistake on the last lap. He was showing off for the crowd a little bit, tipped over, and ended up fourth.
Still got up and made the main with a gutsy performance. Here's Brooks.
A little bit embarrassed, I think, as he turns to take the checkered flag. But you're right. The key is to put her in the feature, and that's exactly what he's done.
Larry Ward, Denny Stevenson, Kehoe, Brooks, and Swink now to the main out of semi number 2.
All right, Larry, you were chasing your teammate, Larry Brooks. You guys put on a good show. I like the little look side to side over the jumps. How'd that feel?
Felt real good. You know, Larry and I trained together all week and just went out there and had fun, got into the main event, and looking for great things tonight.
Sounding pretty confident. Did you know you could get by him?
I thought I could. Larry's a real good rider. He got an awesome start. No-lean Yamahas are fast. I whole shot last week. He's whole shot tonight. So I'm just happy to be on this Yamaha and hope things get better every weekend.
Good luck, Mr. Ward.
Thank you.
The last chance qualifiers out of the Houston Astrodome making their first mains of the young season. Boyson and Downs. Tonight's 125 main is the first of only 2 times that the 125 East and 125 West battle together. The other time is in Dallas, Texas, but there's always a lot of spirit.
Well, on the West Coast, you know, we have a couple of fast guys. We have Huffman and Decker, and both the teammates of mine is Gonzalez and Dobbs. So, you know, some good guys there. And in the East Coast, there's some good guys there. So when we all match them together, everybody wants to show who's the best and who's the fastest. So, you know, it's going to be a good race tonight. And I think, you know, we got some good riders on the West, and I think we might be able to, you know, show them that we're a little bit faster.
Well, I'm really looking forward to it, and it's finally here now. I had a lot of time off, but now I'm ready physically and mentally, and Suzuki's, I think they're more ready than ever, and they made a lot of changes, and I think it's going to work out for the best part.
Yeah, this year I feel a lot better than last year. I have a good team right now, my split fire team. The bike is great, and I feel much better than last year. I think this year will become a good year for me.
Getting set now at the line, and the 2 favorites from the East, Ezra Lusk. From the Western Division, number 20, Damon Huffman.
And they've each won a heat race to set up this main event showdown. This ought to be a terrific race. Number 17, Lusk, has one advantage, and that is that the Eastern region racers ran last week at Orlando. He's got a race under his belt, and he won it handily, and that's probably a big advantage coming here to round 2.
Surrounded by Pedro Gonzalez, number 86 on the right, and number 22, Ryan Hughes. Both outstanding riders out of the Western Division. And it's Ezra Lusk. Lusk gets the whole shot.
Great start for Ezra. Damon Huffman jumps right in behind him in second spot, and the battle is on. East versus West. Love it.
It's Metzger, Pedersen, Button, and Ferry in that order behind the leaders. Metzger made 3 mains in '93, 1 top 10 finish.
It's out of Quail Valley, California, on a Yamaha. Here comes the Army behind as the 2 Suzukis out front try to break away and make it a 2-man race.
Ezra Lusk already with 1 race behind him, as you mentioned, Dave, and that was an outstanding, dominating race.
Huffman wants him. See, Huffman's moving off the line. He's trying to find a way around Ezra Lusk. He's not going to sit back there and follow him. Suzuki's attention really focused in the 125 class this year. This is the class they want to dominate.
Here's the battle for 4th and 5th. Jimmy Button, number 34, and Ferry, number 28. Both fared well in the opening race of the season. Jimmy Button, a real surprise, taking 2nd place behind Ezra Lusk.
Button's crew signaling, you can do it. That's half the battle in Supercross. Believing in yourself, thinking that you can go to the front. Button did it last week. He passed a lot of people and reached 2nd place.
The two veterans out in front. Lusk, a disappointing season last year, finishing third in his division, while Huffman came on strong, winning late in the season. Here's the battle for third. Metzger 85 and Ferry and Button both pass him.
It's a Metzger sandwich, and Pedersen comes with him, and that means Metzger went from third to 7th in the length of one straightaway. Have a nice day.
It sets up another rivalry between Button and Ferry, who finished second and third to Lusk in their last race. Ferry, former Rookie of the Year. Boy, he brought the Orlando fans alive with a dominating heat win in that first race of the season.
Got the inside, going to make it work. Great block pass. Here comes Button right back, trying to maintain the momentum. I'll give Ferry the spot with an excellent pass.
Lusk number 1, Huffman number 2. Huffman into the hay bale.
You know what happened there? Huffman broke the cardinal rule. Don't watch the guy in front of you when he's in trouble. Look at Lusk. He almost crashes. Huffman mimics him, duplicates it, loses it, and jams it in the bales. He loses 2 spots in the process. Bad move for Huffman.
Ferry and Button able to take advantage of that, along with Chad Pedersen as well. There's Ferry and Button.
It's going to be a good race the way it's shaping up. Button trying to retaliate after Ferry passed him. He's going to try to go up a different line through the whoop-de-doos, and he gets her a little out of shape there. It's rougher over toward the bales, and he can't make the pass.
Ferry with the edge on Jimmy Button, but Button straightened up. Ferry moving over to Honda this year. Button sticking with Suzuki.
See Ferry look back over his shoulder. You don't want to be doing that. Button just pounced on him, jumped right past him. Ferry's thinking the wrong way. He's thinking rear view mirrors. Button's going to the front.
Lusk, Button, and Ferry will be back in a moment. Welcome back to the 125 main from the Houston Astrodome. Ezra Lusk way out in front, dominating this race right now, as in the number 2 position is Jimmy Button, a teammate with Suzuki.
Let's give a call to number 22. Ryan Rhino Hughes has moved up to 4th now, and he's the man charging. He's around Ferry, and that's going to give him 3rd spot. He's headed for the front.
Hughes injured most of last year with great potential, expected to really challenge number 20 right there, Damon Huffman, for the 125 Western Crown.
Huffman's got to really settle down here and try to make a comeback.
Great inside move by Damon Huffman. He's got his sights on Ryan Hughes right now.
Trying to follow Hughes because Hughes, I think, is the fastest man on the racetrack. Huffman wants to stay with him until this thing sorts out a little bit. Huffman recovering after that crash. Ferry's the one who's backing up.
Ferry starting to come up on Damon Huffman right now. Hughes and Huffman in the whoops.
Ooh, he made that work.
Nice move.
Yeah, right where Button tried and failed. And look at Rhino come right back underneath him.
Good block pass.
Ryan Hughes had a great preseason. He's tuned and ready, and he's with a great team. That's that split fire Kawasaki effort. He's without one of his teammates, James Dobbs, the Englishman, sidelined after the heat race. He had a crash, hurt his shoulder a little bit. Says he'll be back next week for Anaheim.
Good performance by Hughes, who got out of the gate in 7th spot, but Damon Huffman now starting to put the heat, as well as Ferry. That's going to be something to watch the entire race.
I don't think Ferry's going to maintain the pace. There's nothing wrong here. He's going the wrong direction, but these guys are working very well. They're not getting in each other's way. They've swapped positions a couple of times, but they haven't slowed each other down. Will they catch Lusk? I think that's a long shot.
It will almost take a mistake by Ezra Lusk to lose this race right now. He proved very competent in the first race of the season, leading from gate to flag, dominating in that 125 Eastern opener.
A lot of bragging rights at stake here with that east-west thing that these guys talked about at the top of the race. Everybody wants to believe that their region of the country produces the best riders. The Californians have always had a kind of hotbed of motocross out there. And a lot of the, especially young factory stars, tend to come from there. These two guys, clearly an example. 22 Ryan Hughes and number 20 Damon Huffman.
Ezra Lusk riding with a lot more confidence this year. Can he go gate to flag once again in the 2nd straight race? As we look back at the battle between 3rd and 4th, nice pass by Damon Huffman, but the inside track by Ryan Hughes.
That time Hughes took his line away. Huffman knew where he wanted to go, but Hughes was right there. Just hangs to the inside and says eventually the track's going to come to me. Huffman again not able to complete the pass because Ryan's in the right spot at the right time.
Good positioning by Ryan Hughes.
This is all going on about 4 or 5 seconds behind the second place man. Jimmy Button continuing to circulate in that spot, and Ezra Lusk leads it by about a Texas mile.
So this is the battle for third and fourth. Hughes in front of Damon Huffman. Huffman started out in second place, but then a bobble following Ezra Lusk. He's got good speed, but Hughes using some veteran moves right here.
You got to wonder how much the mishap has hurt Huffman's rhythm and timing a little bit. See, the foot peg comes up just a little bit of a mistake, but in this kind of a battle, a 100th of a second will cost you a lot.
Still a long way to go to determine the positioning in this 125 main from the Houston Astrodome.
I'm impressed at the way Hughes is hanging on under the pressure. When you've got somebody up along both sides of you and tapping on your rear wheel every turn of the racetrack, it's easy to make a mistake. Hughes isn't making any mistakes.
He is focused as they pass the lap rider.
This is a strong team, too. You've got Hughes, and in addition, the 2 international entries. Gonzalez not having a great night tonight, but great things expected of the young Mexican rider. And we already mentioned Dobbs, who's out with an injury, but the Kawasaki guys have put together a great effort here with split fire and Hot Wheels.
Yeah, Gonzalez got off to a very bad start, 12th out of the gate, but is moving up slowly through the field once he clears the traffic.
This is going to be a disappointment for Damon Huffman, however it turns out. The best he can hope for here is a top 3. He got it. He made the pass. That was good. I was about to say the best he could hope for was top 3, and he came here expecting to win. He's got third unless Hughes takes it back, which he does.
And here comes Damon Huffman. Accelerates by Ryan Hughes.
Yeah, Hughes never really got the pass made there, did he? He ran under him and then ran past him, and so when Damon squared it off, he had third back. And now look at this. Huffman's faster.
Lusk, Button, and Huffman now. We'll be back with more.
AMA Supercross is brought to you by Honda, the reigning Supercross and 250 national champion. Honda, come ride with us.
Yeah, team definitely makes a difference. I mean, we got the 4 best guys out there. It's just another day for me. Just going out there and knowing that you're the best.
I don't try and intimidate anybody.
I'm out here to win the race, and that's what I'm going to do.
You know, if anything, they probably try and intimidate me, but it doesn't work.
We try to just get a winning effort going so these guys can go out on the track and do what they need to do. Definitely got to get a good start and, of course, be on the best bikes out there, which are Hondas.
Best bike color's red. That's fast because they're mean.
These guys have to be the ambassador of the sport.
You don't win 10 races with luck.
Good, lucky, I don't mind that. Good and lucky, that's kind of cool.
There is no luck. Well, there's a little bit of luck.
The CRs are definitely the best bikes. They're just the best. They always win. Prove it. There's a psychological effect that red has over other colors.
CRs are fast. Blazing fast. Red hot.
Just keep them on bikes that can win races, and they're pretty happy.
Ezra Lusk on the final lap. You know, we haven't seen much of Robbie Raynard in this race. He got a slow start in the first race of the season, came back to battle for 4th.
He was expected to challenge Ezra for the Eastern Region Championship. Robbie has the flu this week, which puts him in a majority of Americans. He hasn't worked out all week, and that's why we haven't seen him. He's out there, but he's in the back.
Got to hand it to Ezra Lusk, as well as Damon Huffman. Ezra for not cracking under the pressure, being able to maintain the lead, and Huffman for coming back into a fray with Jimmy Button. Button has held on to second place throughout most of this race.
And I would only add to that the Suzuki team have obviously got this thing worked out. When your bikes run 1, 2, 3, that means you got the right guys on the bikes.
Well, the East finished first in the 125 main. Damon Huffman from the West crossing the line, but there you see it. Lusk and Button both from the East. Huffman and Hughes from the West. Tim Ferry 5th. Gonzalez, an admirable comeback for 6th. Let's go to Motor World 2's Jerry Bernardo and the winner.
Suzuki's Ezra Lusk. This is a deja vu last time. Numero uno. Your thoughts in a nutshell.
Well, I've been working on that mind game. You know, I had a big problem with that last year, getting out front and just throwing it away. And I've been riding really good. I'm really proud of myself. If I could just get out there and ride like that, not even win, I'd still be happy. But you know, everything's going well for me, and my Suzuki's running really good. And we finished top 3 tonight, and that proves it.
Did you feel your teammate Huffman right behind you in the early laps?
I didn't know really who it was. I was just riding a steady pace, and if someone wanted to come up and put a wheel on me, then I would have, you know, perked it up a little bit, but nobody really got a wheel in on me, so I just stayed that whole pace the whole race.
Ezra Lusk, after 2 dominating wins, leading the points battle. Jimmy Button with 2 seconds right behind him. Damon Huffman winning the top points in the first 125 Western battle.
So you went down early in the race. How'd you feel? What happened on there?
Well, you know, I felt I was a lot faster and all, but I didn't want to knock my teammate down because that wouldn't be right. And so I felt I could have passed him cleanly actually he was holding me up, but I kind of saw him bobble, then I just watched him and do the same thing, and I'm kind of mad about that. But it's the first race, I'm a little nervous and all, but it's over and done with, and I proved that I could pretty much smoke the pro circuit team, and that's my main competition on the West Coast. So I'm happy with 3rd.
I'll tell you, Art, I'm looking forward to the rematch between Lusk and Huffman that'll happen in Texas Stadium in Dallas later in the series. That'll be good.
So the champagne should flow any second now as Jimmy Button looks the most experienced there. Huffman with 4 wins last year can't get the cork off. The 250 main coming up. Set for the 250 main. Supercross action at its best. Which riders will step up? Will Jeremy McGrath dominate once again? There's 2 Kawasaki's hoping he doesn't.
You know, one race doesn't make a season, Art, but the race we saw last week at Orlando was so similar to all of last season. It's just really hard not to believe that McGrath's going to leave these guys racing for 2nd place. He is the whole shot artist.
And of course, Dave, the big question, will Jeremy McGrath get the whole shot and or somewhere up near the lead?
No, he won't.
No, he's back in the pack. It's Emick with the whole shot. Craig and Larry Ward on the inside.
All Yamahas up front by my count. Number 1, Jeremy McGrath is 15th, and Mike LaRocco is back there with him.
Number 10, yellow bike, Brian Swink. Then it's Lamson, Henry right there. Nice move by Ward to get around Emick. Craig trails.
Look at the Yamaha battle. Boy, are they pumped about this. Again, Craig and Emick almost tangle as Larry Ward, the privateer, leads the best of the Supercross world, and McGrath will have to play a huge game of catch-up.
Larry Ward leading the first race of the season for 4 laps before slipping back and then crashing on the 7th lap. Does he have the physical conditioning to keep a lead with Craig in 2nd place? Here's Kedrowski. McGrath looking for a pass on Kedrowski.
Unbelievable to see Jeremy this far behind. It brings back memories of old Charlotte, I guess, a year ago when he proved he could come through the traffic. See him look over his shoulder at Kedrowski, who can't fly a start, and they caught up with Jeff Potasevich.
McGrath starting out of the gate about 10th. And he catches Henry right here.
Gets by his teammate in a hurry. I'm looking for LaRocco, who was 1 bike behind McGrath on the first lap, but now seems to have said, you got just a glimpse of him there. He's a couple of positions behind McGrath. Big triple, he's moving.
Should Jeremy McGrath come all the way back to lead this race, it would remind me of a 125 race in San Jose, which was probably his greatest comeback. He ran right into Brian Swink.
He knocked him off. He hit him. He knocked him off. Jeremy was committed to the corner. He triple jumped into this thing. I think he thought Swink was going to go a little wide. He tripled in underneath him. There was no way he could stop, and he just punted Brian Swink.
Swink's not going to forget that if he ever runs with McGrath once again. He might be looking over his shoulder to see if Jeremy's flying by.
Look at the pass on Jeff Stanton. McGrath went by Stanton like a bullet. Stanton's still a little dingy from that heat race crash. He's not in it for the moment. Here's the guy who's got the clear sailing out front.
Larry Ward disheartened with the last race and the crash. Really pinpointed and focused toward this one, building his confidence all the way.
Confidence is one thing. The way he faded at Orlando, I think you still have to question his physical ability.
McGrath looking ahead to teammate Steve Lamson. Lamson 5th in the opening race of the season, but he got a much better start in this race.
The knock on Jeremy has always been, yeah, but he doesn't have to pass anybody because he always gets the hole shot. Tonight he didn't get the hole shot. On the racetrack where he has never won, McGrath faces the biggest challenge of his Supercross career. He has passed about half the field.
Lamson on the inside, McGrath edging out in front, and he gets the line he wants.
Gave his teammate a little more room than he gave Brian Swink, didn't he?
McGrath is now in 4th. He went from 10th to 6th in 1 lap. He has passed 9 riders so far to get where he is right now, Dave.
He's passed all of his teammates, too, hasn't he? He's passed Team Honda. Now he's got all the Yamahas to worry about. All Yamahas left in front of him as Lamson is in danger here of falling into the clutches of Doug Henry.
That Honda team is so competitive, but I wonder if it's going to be as easy to get through the Yamahas.
Well, they're certainly not going to give him any room. Jeremy McGrath turning in an incredible 3 or 4 lap charge here, has caught Michael Craig riding, as we said, with a hurt knee after that tangle with Emig in the heat race. So he may be easy pickings for McGrath.
McGrath trying to reel him in right now, picks up the slack before getting into the bumps.
Emig's right there in front of him. What an incredible charge by Jeremy. None of the 3 guys in front of him has ever won a Supercross race. We're not anywhere near halfway through. I think the Jinx is in big trouble.
Jeremy setting Michael Craig up right now. The crowd's going wild. He looks back at Michael Craig.
Makes it look so easy. Craig had the inside and couldn't hold on to the spot. I mean, Michael Craig had that corner covered, and Jeremy McGrath just rode around the outside of it.
Ward, Emig, McGrath on the come. We'll be back. Welcome back as Jeremy McGrath in the 250 main. Looking at Emig, cuts to the inside on Jeff Emig. Emig, though, not willing to give up that spot too readily.
A little bad blood between those two. They had a disagreement over a girlfriend a while back that still sits there in the background. Whenever these two get together, you wait for the sparks to fly. They don't make many bones about the fact that they don't like each other.
Emig and McGrath. McGrath has done a wonderful job leading up through the field after starting out at about 10th. I made a brief reference earlier about a race in San Jose 2 years ago when he was last in 125 action and in only 15 laps went through the entire field for the victory. One thing about the McGrath-Emig battle, they've been able to catch up to the leader, Larry Ward.
Ward is crumbling again. He had a 3-second lead, and now Emig is alongside of him, a lap short of halfway. Larry Ward is going the wrong direction again.
This kind of racing will let McGrath get into a good position as well.
Emig, clean pass. He knew that that Ward was wounded and he could take advantage of him. Gave him a lot of room. Emig now the leader. McGrath won't wait long. He's gone. He's around Ward already.
Emig is fast enough to stay out in front, but will he go without mistakes?
Take another look at how Larry Ward went from 1st to 3rd. When you're tired, you can't do anything right. See, he's in the wrong position on the jump here, and he's lost all his speed and momentum going into the corner. McGrath just comes around the outside on that tabletop and passes him by 4 bike lengths in one corner.
Emig, the former 125 champion in the outdoors, known for his outdoor performance, tried to focus earlier this year on Supercross. Here's McGrath.
Ooh, he bumped him. He chopped in front of him with the block pass, hit Emig's front wheel. That will add to the enmity between these two, I'm sure. But McGrath has gone from 13th to 1st.
Incredible. And here we've got the battle with LaRocco on the move from behind. He's taking on Michael Craig as he jumps through.
The double jump looks great, but he spent too much time in the air. Craig got the rear wheel back on the ground and driving and was able to hold off the pass. Note that they have both gone around Larry Ward, who has faded all the way to 5th. This is the battle for 3rd and 4th. Number 7, LaRocco can't get around Craig, and that's a big setback. Up to this moment, he'd been able to match McGrath's charge through the traffic. Now, finally, he gets around.
LaRocco, clearly the quickest bike in the first race of the season, just ran out of laps as he tried to catch Jeremy McGrath. LaRocco in this race, he started out in 15th. Craig having trouble. He's showing effects of the sore knee.
Larry Ward's going to get back by, or is he? They are now battling on the two Yamahas, the privateer and the factory bike, for 4th and 5th. Now Craig holds on to 4th.
Ward extremely disappointed that he didn't finish the first race after showing so well early, and I'm sure that's one of his goals here today.
Got to work on his training program. Got to get that 20 lap durability in place. He's got the starting technique and he's got the mental edge. He just needs to be able to run strong the whole distance.
Mike LaRocco trying to catch Jeremy McGrath. I don't know if he has enough time.
And I don't know if he'll be able to get around Emig. He's had trouble with Mike Craig, and now Emig is there. You've got a Honda, then a Yamaha, then a Kawasaki in the top 3 spots. And look at this.
How important was that girlfriend? He might let him go through.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on that. I'll say this about McGrath. I think the jinx is toast. I don't think the jinx applies anymore.
Jeremy not known for tracking well out in front, that's for sure. As we take a look back, LaRocco on the move. Emig. LaRocco picking up time on the whoops.
Just skimmed across the top of him, gobbled up the distance to Emig. Now can he complete the pass? That's the key. Catching is one thing, passing is the key.
LaRocco. And he holds the edge on the turn.
See, that time he didn't do the double jump. He didn't make the same mistake that he made there in that same spot on number 19, Michael Craig. And he just rockets away from Emig. He wants McGrath.
LaRocco with about 6 laps to reel him in. Remember last week in Orlando, LaRocco was able to cut each lap lead down 2 seconds. Jeremy said he was going the fastest he could go. McGrath on top. LaRocco, Emig, Craig, and Ward will be back. Welcome back to the Astrodome. 250 Supercross. Mike LaRocco in second place, trying to catch up with Jeremy McGrath. You see Jeremy right in front of him now. Another great come from behind by Mike LaRocco.
Great come from behind by both these guys. They had to come through a lot of traffic to get to the front. McGrath, by my count, was 13th through the first turn, and LaRocco was 15th. The difference is McGrath got through the Yamahas more quickly than LaRocco, so Mike had to do a bunch of catching up here in the last couple of laps. He's caught him. Can he pass him? That's a little bit more of a challenge.
LaRocco not quite as smooth since he's caught up with McGrath. You see Skip Norfolk there, the mechanic for McGrath, giving him encouragement.
3 laps and corners. That was the 2 bits of information. Work on your corner speed. That's where you're going to beat LaRocco. More importantly, that's how you're going to keep LaRocco behind.
Well, it looks like McGrath is starting to step it up a bit, too.
And that's what he didn't do at Orlando. At Orlando, he said he was running as fast as he could go, and LaRocco ran him down from a couple of seconds back. This time, you're exactly right. He's up in the pace to match LaRocco, and that's going to be disappointing for Mike.
What an incredible 250 career for the guy out in front, Jeremy McGrath, who last year as a rookie broke the record with 10 victories in a single season. Said going into this year, if anyone's going to break the record, it's going to be me.
Wants to break his own record this year. He has a good shot here tonight at breaking this Houston jinx. I want to make another point about Houston. We talked about the fact that Jeremy's never won here. In 1978, Bob Hanna had never won here. He won the Houston Supercross. He went on and won 4 in a row. 1981, Mark Barnett had never won here. Won the Houston Supercross, went on and won 4 in a row. 1985, Jeff Ward had never won here. Won the Houston Supercross, you guessed it, went on and won 4 in a row. What do you think's going to happen if Jeremy McGrath wins tonight?
If you wonder what happened to Mike Kudrowski, he's almost taken himself out of the points chase. He started in 9th. He dropped to last on the 4th lap after going down, and he's currently in 15th spot.
A disastrous season for Mike Kudrowski, and all of the hopes of Kawasaki now rest with this man, Mike LaRocco, whose speed does not seem to be equal to the task here tonight. If you had shown me this piece of tape a week ago at Orlando, I would have said no chance for McGrath. LaRocco will just blow right by him, but that hasn't happened here tonight as Jeremy has risen to the occasion.
Dave, Jeremy told me before this race got underway that the reason he likes the track is it's very similar to his practice track, right outside his back door. But I can't imagine him being uncomfortable with any kind of track right now.
not the way he rides. But to be quick, you have to be comfortable. And if he is feeling at home on the racetrack, that would account for the difference in his performance this week compared with last week. Also, I don't think LaRocco's as sharp as he was last week. Stanton continues to suffer. He's back in 5th spot and has not been himself since the crash in the heat race.
Jeremy McGrath, a comfortable lead when it comes to Mike LaRocco.
LaRocco was unable to do tonight what he thinks he has to do to beat Jeremy. His belief is that the only way to beat Jeremy McGrath is to beat him to the first turn. He couldn't do that tonight.
Looking at the final lap, Steve Lamson currently in 6th place. Lamson has been invaluable to the Honda team as far as testing is concerned.
Probably a little frustrated. He thought he might be better than that here tonight, but McGrath has dazzled everybody with the charge through traffic. Last week at Orlando, Jeremy's 11th career win tied him with the 1980 champ Mike Bell. If he wins tonight, he's tied with David Bailey, the 83 champion, at 12 victories.
About this time last week, we were holding our breath as LaRocco made his charge on McGrath. Not the situation here today.
He's close, but I just find it hard to believe that he's going to get around. That's going to take a last lap miracle. McGrath is going to finally win his first Houston Supercross.
And goes 2 in a row on the season.
And is going to lap the 12th place man, his teammate number 8, Doug Henry, in the process.
Henry was as high as 5th, but he's suffered from lack of practice time as well, as we see the checkered flag come out. Win number 2 in 2 events for Jeremy McGrath. Mike LaRocco comes in 2nd. A distant 3rd, Jeff Emig.
In my opinion, Art, the best career performance ever for Jeremy McGrath. Yeah, from last to first in that San Jose 125 race was terrific, but that's 125s. This is a different class of people. When you can go from 15th to 1st against these guys, you are the undisputed champion of the Supercross world.
He started the charge going through his own teammates, Stanton, Henry, Lamson, and then took on a crew of Yamahas. And in the end, had to hold back a rampaging Kawasaki Mike LaRocco. Emig, Craig, and Stanton rounding out the top 5. Honda rider Steve Lamson pulled in 6th. The Ward, Swink, Palmer, and Brooks. Let's go to Jerry Bernardo.
All right, Mike, you can't be too disappointed with 2nd. You've been made short work of everybody out there, but you just were 1 step behind Jeremy. What do you have to do to beat him?
Well, I think the best thing to do is to get out in front of him, which, again, tonight I didn't do, but I definitely have the speed to do it, and, you know, I caught Jeremy towards the end of that race. I was just kind of hanging in there trying to find him, you know, a place where I could pass him, but, you know, he wasn't making any mistakes, so I made it tough.
You're looking really good through the whoops. It seemed you were making some good time. Did you feel confident in that section?
Yeah, my Kawasaki really handles real good. We spent a lot of time in the offseason getting it tuned up, so, you know, that helps me out a lot. It's just another thing. You just go in there and hang on.
In the last few laps, what were you thinking?
I was trying to find a place around Jeremy. You know, he rides a good pace, and he takes you know, the best lines on the track. So when you're riding somebody as fast as myself, it's kind of hard to find a way around.
You've accumulated good points. Good job.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Mike LaRocco's second place finish in 2 races puts him only 6 points behind the number 1 plate Jeremy McGrath.
All right, Jeremy, you didn't have your work cut out for you. No hole shot this time. You were a little bit far back, but you made short work of that and got up front. How was it in the early going?
Yeah, it was pretty tough. You know, I was in there with my teammates, and I threw a couple block passes that, you know, I didn't think they were too bad, but, you know, I kind of got off balance on the start and didn't get such a great start. So, you know, unfortunately, I had to come from behind, but that just lets everyone know that I can do it.
Once you got out front, did you feel confident?
Well, I felt confident for a while. Then I seen Mike coming on strong, so then I had to pick up the pace again. And, you know, I think that's the toughest race I've ever had to race. And the last 6 laps were pretty tough.
Jeremy says it's tough. You know we've had a great race, Dave.
Tell you what, Art, this is a disaster for all Jeremy's challengers who've been able to kid themselves. If he ever gets a bad start, we can beat him. Now they know that's not true.
Art Ekman for Dave Despain and Jerry Bernardo saying we'll see you next week from Anaheim, California.